The urge to go nuclear was almost unbearable. When Chloe handed me the packet of logs, the breadcrumb trail from Kensington Group's servers to the doctored files now sitting in a city council inbox, I felt the weight of a loaded weapon in my hands. They walked right into it, Marisol said, practically vibrating with adrenaline. We should release this now. The council will kill their credibility overnight. I could hear the hunger in her voice, the righteous anger I carried too. For weeks, they'd smeared us, sabotaged us, tried to break us down from the inside. Finally, we had them. But my gut told me the timing wasn't ripe. Not yet. No, I said slowly, fingers drumming against the table. If we go public now, they'll claim it's fabricated. They'll throw money at lawyers, spin it as a clerical error, bury it in red tape. I want this to hit when they can't wriggle out. Daniel leaned back, arms crossed. So you're saying we wait? Yes. But not idle waiting. We use the time to prepare the kill shot. Cross-check every log. Get independent forensics on the data trail. Secure sworn statements from the city aides who received the altered file. When this drops, it has to be airtight. Silence settled around the table, heavy with the tension between justice delayed and justice denied. Finally, Chloe nodded. We can build redundancy. 3 different forensics firms, each one confirming the chain. If Kensington Group tries to discredit one, the others hold. Marisol exhaled, frustration flickering across her face, but she didn't argue. I knew how she felt. I felt it too. Like standing on a battlefield, sword raised, muscles trembling, waiting for the signal to strike. But patience wasn't weakness. It was precision. And the Kensingtons had built their empire on people mistaking the two. Over the next week, the office hummed with quiet intensity. Chloe and her team traced every packet of data, locking down evidence so tight it could withstand a hurricane of lawyers. Marisol coordinated with contractors who'd been approached by Kensington operatives, collecting sworn affidavits of bribery attempts. Daniel worked his journalist contacts, priming them without tipping our hand. Meanwhile, I played my part in public, calm, steady, almost boring. I attended council meetings, answered questions, presented Red Cannon's plans with measured professionalism. Let my family bask in their false sense of victory. Let them preen in the press about Julie's crumbling facade. Every smirk, every headline, every smug dismissal was another step deeper into the trap. And yet, beneath the composure, the waiting gnawed at me. What if they caught wind of our preparations? What if someone on the inside tipped them off? One night, unable to sleep, I found myself pacing the darkened Red Cannon offices, the hum of the servers filling the silence. I stopped in front of the blueprint for the waterfront project, tracing the lines with my fingertips. This wasn't just about a contract anymore. It was about truth. About proving that I wasn't the erased daughter they'd written off, the fragile woman they painted in headlines. I wasn't weak. I was waiting. And when the moment came, I wouldn't just defend myself. I'd bring their whole empire crashing down. The waiting game was harder on my team than I'd expected. For me, every day was another brick in the wall we were building. Evidence stronger, forensics tighter, strategy sharper. But for some of them, it felt like standing exposed, waiting for the axe to fall. I started noticing it in the little things. Nervous glances in the hallway. Hushed conversations that stopped when I entered the room. Attention humming beneath the usual drive. And then one afternoon, Daniel stepped into my office, jaw tight. We might have a problem. He closed the door, lowering his voice. One of the forensics firms we hired? Word is they've been approached by Kensington Group. My stomach dropped. Approached how? Money. A lot of it. Enough to make someone wonder if sticking with us is worth the trouble. I leaned back, pressing my palms against the desk to steady myself. It wasn't surprising. My family had always known how to sniff out pressure points. Weakness wasn't a bug. It was their blueprint. Which firm? I asked. Ardent Digital. I swallowed. They were one of the 3, the firm tasked with the most critical chain of custody report. If Kensington Group bought them out, or even muddied their credibility, it could weaken everything. That evening, I called an emergency meeting. My team gathered, the tension thick in the air. Let's put this on the table, I said. The Kensingtons are trying to fracture us. They'll dangle money, power, promises, whatever it takes. But hear me clearly, if anyone here thinks there's an easier path, this is the moment to take it. Silence. Faces stiff, eyes darting. Then Marisol leaned forward, steady as stone. They can offer me the moon. I'm not leaving. Chloe nodded. Same. Others followed, but the silence of a few spoke louder than their words. Not betrayal, not yet. But fear. Fear was contagious, and the Kensingtons knew it. Afterward, Daniel pulled me aside. You handled that well, but watch your back. Fear turns allies into liabilities faster than greed. That night, lying awake, I replayed the meeting over and over. It wasn't just about the project anymore. This was survival, for my company, for my people, for me. And survival had a cost. If someone did break, I couldn't afford hesitation. One crack could bring the whole structure down. The next morning, I doubled security protocols. Access logs tightened. Document handling restricted to cleared staff only. Every move monitored, not out of paranoia, but necessity. It wasn't lost on me how much I was starting to resemble them. My family, always watching, always suspicious. The difference was, I wasn't protecting a dynasty built on greed. I was protecting something real. Still, as I walked through the office that day, I couldn't shake the feeling that the Kensingtons had managed to wedge themselves into the cracks. And the question wasn't if someone would break. It was when. The crack came faster than I expected. 2 days after that tense meeting, Chloe rushed into my office, her face pale. Julie, we have a breach. My stomach nodded. Show me. She pulled up the logs. At 2:17 a.m., someone had accessed restricted files, one of the decoy environmental drafts we'd salted in the system. The access credentials belonged to one of my junior analysts, a kid named Evan who'd only been with us 6 months. Are you sure this isn't a glitch? I asked, my voice sharp. Chloe shook her head. It's clean. His account, his device. If this isn't him, then someone used his access. I sat back, the weight of it sinking in. Evan. Quiet, diligent, eager to prove himself. He'd been the kind of employee you barely noticed until you realized the work was always done right. And now this. By mid-morning, rumors were already swirling through the office. People glanced at Evan like he carried poison. He sat at his desk, hunched over, face pale, as if he could feel the suspicion pressing in. Daniel cornered me in the hallway. If it's him, you need to cut him loose fast. Show the team you won't tolerate weakness. But something about it didn't sit right. Too neat. Too obvious. I called Evan into my office. He looked terrified, like a kid dragged to the principal. Tell me, I said gently. Did you access those files last night? His head jerked up. No. I swear I didn't. I was home asleep. I can prove it. My roommate timestamps on my phone, whatever you need. His voice cracked with desperation, and for a moment, I saw myself, years ago, standing in front of my family, accused of things I didn't do, erased by lies too powerful to fight. I believed him. Go home for the day, I told him. I'll handle this. Once he was gone, I turned to Chloe. Dig deeper. If this was planted, I want the fingerprints. She worked late into the night, tracing every keystroke, every packet of data. Finally, near midnight, she called me over. Look, she said, pointing at the screen. The access came from Evan's credentials, but not his machine. It was spoofed. And the IP trace, she smirked grimly, bounced through a Kensington-owned server farm in New Jersey. A rush of relief flooded me, chased quickly by rage. They hadn't turned my people. They tried to make me think they had. It was a masterstroke of psychological warfare, poisoning trust, seeding paranoia, hoping I'd fracture my own foundation from the inside. But instead of breaking us, it steeled me. The next morning, I called the entire office together. Let me be clear, I said, scanning the room. Someone tried to make it look like one of us betrayed this team. They didn't succeed. And they never will. We stand together, or we fall together. That's our choice. I caught Evan's eye in the crowd. His shoulders sagged with relief. The Kensingtons wanted me second-guessing every ally, tearing my company apart with suspicion. Instead, They'd handed me the chance to strengthen my people's loyalty. Still, I knew what this meant. If they were playing at Ghosts in the Wires, their next move would be even bolder. And when it came, I had to be ready to spring the trap we'd set. If there's one thing my family has always loved, it's spectacle. So when the invitation landed on my desk, an ornate card embossed with gold, announcing the Kensington Group Annual Investors Summit, I almost laughed. Of course, when cornered, the Kensingtons didn't retreat. They doubled down. And this time, they were going to parade their victory in front of every investor, politician, and journalist they could lure with champagne and chandeliers. "They're daring you," Daniel said, tossing the invitation onto my desk. "They want you to show up looking rattled. Or not show up at all, which they'll spin as weakness." I stared at the card. I could already picture it. My father at the podium, Matthew grinning at his side, Caroline dripping in diamonds. They'd bask in the headlines, boasting about their stability while hinting at my supposed fragility. The thought made my chest burn. But this time, I didn't just have anger. I had ammunition. "They don't know we've got them," I murmured, tapping the edge of the card. "So let's make sure when we reveal it, the whole world is watching." In the week leading up to the summit, the Kensingtons went into overdrive. Glossy features in business magazines. Carefully staged photo ops. Matthew on a morning show, chuckling smugly about family tensions, but insisting that the Kensington legacy remains strong. And investors, always hungry for certainty, lapped it up. My phone buzzed with messages from nervous partners. "Are you sure you can handle the waterfront bid? Should we delay? Maybe partner with the group instead." It was exactly the pressure my family wanted. Push me to fold. Force me into their shadow. But instead of folding, I prepared. Chloe finalized the digital trail, triple verified by independent forensics firms. Marisol locked down sworn statements from city aides. Daniel coordinated with the journalists we'd primed weeks earlier. All the pieces were in place. The night of the summit, I stood outside the Grand Hotel ballroom, the muffled hum of hundreds of voices seeping through the doors. My pulse thrummed, but my resolve was steady. Daniel adjusted his tie beside me. "You don't have to go in there," he said quietly. "Yes, I do. Because this wasn't just about exposing them. It was about looking them in the eye when their empire cracked." The doors opened, and the sight nearly stole my breath. Crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, rows of glittering tables where the city's elite leaned in over champagne flutes. At the front, a massive stage flanked by banners, Kensington Group, building the future. My father stood at the podium, radiating authority. Matthew lounged beside him, smug as ever. Caroline glided through the crowd, her laugh like glass breaking. And then my father's voice rang out, smooth and commanding. "Tonight, we celebrate not just our past, but the bright future the Kensington legacy will deliver, unshaken, unrivaled, and unstoppable." The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. Investors leaned forward, eager to drink it in. And in that moment, watching them bask in borrowed glory, I knew the time had come. The trap was ready. The stage was set. All that remained was the strike. The applause rolled like thunder across the ballroom, every clap another reminder of how invincible my family thought they were. I stood at the back, half-shadowed, watching my father grip the podium with practiced authority. "The Kensington Group," he declared, "remains the cornerstone of this city's future. Doubt us and you doubt progress itself." The crowd roared again. Cameras flashed. Matthew smirked. Caroline's diamonds threw sparks under the chandeliers. They believed they had won. And that was exactly why it was time. I lifted my chin and walked down the aisle, my heels clicking against the marble floor. Heads turned. Whispers rippled through the audience. "Julie Kensington," someone hissed. My father's smile faltered for the briefest second before he recovered. "Ah," he said into the microphone. "My daughter has joined us after all. Perhaps she's ready to come home to the family that built her." I stopped at the edge of the stage, meeting his gaze head-on. "No," I said, my voice carrying clear and steady. "I'm here to show everyone what you've built your empire on." Gasps echoed across the room. Reporters surged forward, recorders lifted like weapons. Daniel, waiting in the wings, nodded. Chloe tapped her tablet, and the screens behind the podium flickered. Suddenly, the Kensington banners were replaced with documents, city contracts, altered blueprints, doctored bids. Each one stamped with metadata, digital fingerprints pointing straight to my family's offices. The murmurs turned into an uproar. Investors craned forward. Phones snapped photos of every damning detail. Matthew lunged toward the screens. "This is fake," he shouted, voice cracking. But Marisol, standing near the press pit, rose with a folder in hand. "Sworn statements from city officials," she called. "Independent forensics confirming tampering. This is no smear, it's the truth." The weight of it hit like a tidal wave. My father's face drained of color. Caroline's perfect smile wavered. Matthew froze, caught between rage and disbelief. I turned back to the audience. For years, I let myself be erased. My work dismissed, my name hidden, my worth denied. But Red Cannon isn't their achievement. It's mine. And tonight, I take it back. The room exploded. Flashes, shouts, questions shouted over each other. Some investors stood abruptly, already calculating losses. Others pressed closer, hungry for every detail of the scandal. My family stood frozen on stage, the cracks in their facades spreading wide and fast. I didn't wait for them to recover. I stepped down, Daniel falling into stride beside me. "You just detonated a bomb," he murmured. "No," I said, glancing back one last time at the stage where my family scrambled to hold their collapsing empire together. "I just stopped letting them steal my life." Outside, the night air felt electric, alive. Reporters swarmed, shouting my name, chasing answers. But for the first time, I didn't feel small beneath the weight of their attention. I felt free. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was swift. Investigations launched. Contracts suspended. Investors fled. My family's empire, once untouchable, buckled under the weight of their own lies. Red Cannon, meanwhile, surged forward. Freed from their shadow, our name carried weight all on its own. And I made a choice. Not to hoard it. Not to repeat their cycle of manipulation and exclusion. We started a foundation, funding women-led startups, mentoring young builders, opening doors for voices that had always been silenced. A legacy, not of greed, but of possibility. Because in the end, the greatest revenge wasn't watching my family fall. It was proving I never needed them to rise. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my story, don't forget to like and hit subscribe. You will also enjoy other stories on AJ Family Drama. Until next time, bye.